What is up, guys? Well, we just got episode 5 of Chucky, titled Little Lies. And this was definitely a step up for me from the past couple of episodes. This was an episode that definitely focused on setting up the back half of this season, setting up where things are going to be going towards some form of conclusion. And there was a lot of things in this episode that I really did enjoy.
What a fucking rush! That's a good shit!
Admittedly, the first half or so of this episode felt like it was starting to meander a little bit, but it really paid off in the back half. I mean, I don't know any Child's Play fan that didn't expect Chucky to be into that Tommy doll. I don't think that surprised anybody. I don't know if it was meant to surprise anyone, but I like the fact that he had the nod to Child's Play 2 with the doll being Tommy. That was really cool. And I liked how all of these characters came together to finally, for what they thought, take down Chucky. And admittedly, I did like Lexy more in this episode. I don't know if I've just come to accept it at this point, or if her chemistry with Jake and Devon is just better in this episode, but they feel more believable as a group of friends, or at least as somebody that's working together to have this common goal. So, I don't know, I'll have to go back and watch this whole season in one binge session whenever we're all the way done and see if some of my issues the past couple episodes regarding Lexy's character is abolished now, but that was good that finally now, by episode 5, now that we are taking her into somewhat of a redemptive arc, I did enjoy her character more, and I enjoyed her interaction with Jake and Devon, and I believed them working together a lot more than I did the last episode. And I did get a laugh out of whenever they pulled Chucky out of the trash can and just stomped the living shit out of him while the voice box was going nuts. I mean, I knew that wasn't Chucky, but it was still funny just to watch them believing that they were stomping the shit out of a serial killer. That was a really fun scene. Jake and Devon finally got the kiss in this episode, so their relationship finally comes to a bit of a crescendo here, and I've been speculating, especially on the live stream episodes that I've been doing with these, about whether or not Devon's intentions were true, or whether there was some weird kind of plot that he had going on. I think this episode pretty much abolished that completely. I think he is legitimately just, you know, in love with Jake, or they're in love with each other. So unless they really pull the rug out from under me, I think that that's just a straight relationship at this point. So that was cool to see that finally come to fruition, and especially for Jake's character, somebody that from the beginning of this show, that was kind of like something that he had to hold on to as like this shameful part of himself because of the way that his dad treated him regarding his sexuality, and even people at school obviously weren't welcoming him with open arms, we'll say that much. So it was cool to see their relationship and their friendship come to a nice little crescendo here, and I'm curious where that's going to continue to go for these next 3 episodes. But of course, the big standout in this episode is the return of Nika and the return of Tiffany. And I gotta say, Fiona Dourif was fucking awesome in this episode. Now, she was somebody that I thought was awesome the past 2 times that I've seen her in this franchise, so it wasn't like I wasn't expecting that, but this is the first time we get to see her really relish in playing her father. But also, there's a cool little twist there where she also gets to play just regular Nika, and so you get to see 2 different shades of her performance back and forth within one scene, and I thought she just did damn good. She was a lot of fun to watch. It's cool how easily she can kind of slip into the shoes of her father's role, and you believe it. It doesn't feel weird that Fiona Dourif is playing Brad Dourif. It feels natural. She's got the same look, she's got his mannerisms, she's got his voice and his laugh down pretty good. Tiffany, I need to see a little bit more out of her. Her scene was very silly and campy, and I think it was intentionally so. So I'm curious on if we're going to get a little bit more carnage-filled Tiffany versus kind of the housewife humor that they were going for here with the Swedish meatballs and all of that kind of. It was okay. I definitely was focusing on Nika for this scene, so Tiffany kind of felt like she was a bit of a distraction from what I was actually paying attention to, if I'm being honest. And that kill that wrapped up the episode was pretty awesome. I mean, I figured it was coming. I figured something along those lines were coming, and as soon as she turned and announced that the principal was coming out, I figured something, like a dead body was going to drop down on a noose or something along those lines, but the fact that you got a fake head thrown out there, a pretty convincing decapitated head too, I'll say that. It was a cool way to end the episode, and you get to see Chucky, doing the little rope thing, and all the kids are like, son of a bitch, we thought we got him, and then they go back and show you that he actually did the old classic voodoo chant. But it was a fun way to wrap this episode up, to kind of once again let everybody know that Chucky is on top of everything. There's no stopping him, and no matter how far ahead you think you might be, he's about 10 steps ahead of you. Now, as far as some things in this episode that I was mixed on, it was really just the flashback segment. I thought it was awesome that we finally get to 80s Charles Lee Ray, and I thought they did a good job at kind of getting the aesthetic of an 80s and getting the vibe and the colors and the lights and capturing that period pretty well. But they also captured the look of 80s Charles Lee Ray pretty damn well on top of that. And the shocker for me, I understand if people don't want to watch the next time on Chucky, and I've got to the point where I kind of tuned that out because I don't want anything to be spoiled for me, but I would seriously suggest everybody that watches this show stick around afterwards for the behind the scenes, because I did not even notice that the young Charles Lee Ray was also played by Fiona Dourif. They put makeup on her and a wig, obviously, but that was her. And I would have never known that if I did not watch that behind the scenes. And that was pretty fucking awesome. That made that whole scene so much better. And again, showcasing how awesome Fiona Dourif is in this show so far, that she's able to quite literally play her father. And that was just a really cool flashback segment. Probably my favorite of the flashback segments thus far. But the one element that I did not love about the flashbacks was the voice dubbing. I thought that initially it worked, having Brad Dourif overdub over Fiona Dourif whenever he was in the club lights and had his sunshades and things were kind of obscuring the face to where it wasn't so distracting. I was on board for it. Where it really fell apart for me was towards the end of the flashback, when the shades are gone and the hair is a lot more cleanly out of her face and the light is very different. And you get the origin of Chucky and Tiffany. And it really did not help that I thought that the Tiffany overdubbing was just flat out silly. I don't understand what they were going for with that, where she's got a regular voice, but she gets so excited by killing that she gets the Jennifer Tilly voice. I don't know if that really worked for me. And Jennifer Tilly has such an iconic voice that seeing her voice come out of somebody else's face, my brain can't compute that. I would have thought that Brad Dourif would have been even harder, but I actually was on board with that pretty well. But the Jennifer Tilly voice overdub, my mind was short-circuiting during that entire thing. But I did think that it was cool that they kind of set up this chick in the bar to maybe be Tiffany, and then it turns out that this random chick that they pick up to kill is actually Tiffany. I thought that was also a nice little cool twist that they threw in there. Now, as far as things that I did not like in this episode, pretty much everything regarding the adults here, which is actually disappointing because I was starting to really get interested in Devon Sawa and his wife and seeing how Lexy's parents were going to change after seeing the things that she's done. And all the drama involving Lexy's parents, just that tit for tat thing that they were doing, that kind of battle of wills between father and mother, to where he's telling her to pick one, mother or mom, and she's like stepping in front of him like, don't you talk back to me in front of the kids. Like, that whole thing didn't do anything for me really, so I'm not really any more invested in their characters than I was, which is disappointing. And then the whole thing regarding Devon Sawa and his wife, to where Devon Sawa is just once again kind of being this blind, dick-headed father, where he's shoving his son into these sports right after he got black lung disease, basically, from this fire. And then you get the ultimate reveal that we've been speculating on, at least on my live streams for the past 5 weeks now, about what, I just call her Rowan because that was her character in Jason X, what Rowan's big secret was, and it's cancer. I mean, could they say later on that she has another secret, maybe something more interesting? Sure, but it's disappointing for me because some of the answers that we were coming up with what is her secret? Is she dating Jennifer Tilly? Is that going to be the way that she comes in? Is there some weird relationship? I feel like all the answers that we were giving were more interesting than the answer that we got. But then again, we're on episode 5. It's hard to judge a series episode by episode until you see everything, but I'm doing my best. Maybe she will have something interesting that will come out of that cancer storyline later on, but when they gave that answer, I was like, oh, well, Okay, fine. But overall, guys, really enjoyed this episode. I'm glad that we're starting to get these OG characters trickled in. I thought they did a great job of holding them back until the back half of this season. I'm very curious where things are going to go from here now that the kids realize that Chucky ain't just a one doll trick. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He can morph into this. I'm curious if he's ever going to go into a human body in this. And I definitely want to see more of Fiona Dourif. She's the one that I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of the most. So what did you guys think of episode 5, Little Lies? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are a Chucky fan. I've done a ton of Chucky content in the past. I've reviewed every single one of the movies, which is something I actually need to update. So we're probably gonna do that next year. But I've ranked the movies a couple of times. I've ranked all of Chucky's looks, all of Chucky's deaths. I've ranked every single one of the kills. And like I've mentioned already twice in this video, I do live stream spoiler chats with other YouTubers every single Wednesday after this show airs. So tomorrow we're gonna be joined by Sean Chandler. Should be a really fun time talking about this episode and what he thought of the show thus far in the first 5 episodes. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss that show. And I'll see everybody tomorrow for that. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.